Hey guys, this is Jason. I'm reviewing Wicked for Good, directed by John M Chu, and it is a continuation of the Wicked story set up in the first film from last year. It takes place where the first film left off, where Elphaba, played Cynthia Erivo, is now a fugitive known as the Wicked Witch that was based off of lies from the wizard, and Glinda, played by Ariana Grande, is now embracing her persona, and people are looking at her as Glinda the Good Witch, but still believes that Elphaba is innocent. And unfortunately, despite the fact that both of them are still friends, they are forced to accept the lives that they never wanted. When the first film came out, people were praising it everywhere. They were singing all the songs, they loved the characters, and loved the production design. And I didn't get a chance to see that movie in theaters when it came out. I watched it at home after it came on Peacock, and I wasn't super interested in it back then, because I wasn't interested in the idea of showing the origin story of both the Wicked Witch and Glinda. But the movie proved me wrong when I eventually watched it, and I ended up really enjoying it. It had characters that I cared about, I loved listening to the songs, and it had really good production design. I enjoyed it that much where I'm like, okay, now I'm excited for Wicked for Good. I want to see it now. And the hype for this film was insane as well. I had to go to the movie theater to find my seat, and there were so many people walking around the movie theater. Like half of the auditoriums in my theater were just playing Wicked for Good each time. That's insane. But gratefully, I got my seat for this film, and I finally saw Wicked for Good. And do I think it deserves more hype like the first film did? No, I don't. Now, I do think this is an enjoyable movie. I still enjoyed it for what it was, but comparing it to the first film, it's kind of disappointing. So, the good first, Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande are both once again fantastic as Elphaba and Glinda. Their scenes and their chemistry definitely carry the film, and every time they have scenes together, they pack an emotional punch. The sets, the production design, the costumes all still look fantastic. They still make you feel like you're in the world of Oz. The songs in this film are great. Granted, some of them are reprises of songs from the first film, but there are still some new songs here, and a lot of them are great. I like the idea of both Elphaba and Glinda trying to register with their new lives that they have, because even though they still care for each other, they're supposed to look at each other as enemies, because now everyone in Oz thinks that Elphaba is an enemy when all that was built on a lie from the wizard. And you do get to feel bad for both of them when they're dealing with this issue, because despite the fact that they are friends, they're really not supposed to talk to each other, because if they get caught, they would think that Glinda is in cahoots with her, where that can lead to both of them making some sacrifices and some pretty bad decisions, where they can do some pretty terrible things that kind of give you second thoughts about why they're doing this. Now, again, you do get to partly understand why, because Glinda is trying to make sure that it's all a lie so that people in Oz are happy, but Elphaba is not okay with what she has to do, so sometimes Elphaba would have to do some drastic measures and do some terrible stuff herself. So despite the fact that they do care about each other, they are forced to do something that they don't want to do, which that can be a problem for some of the characters as well, not just Glinda and Elphaba, but with some of the others from the first film that come back here, where some of them can make some of the most despicable and terrible decisions that just make you have second thoughts about them, and that's making you wonder, who am I supposed to root for? And that's not good when you're trying to root for our two main leads. And with some of the other characters that we liked from the previous film are now kind of treated like they're supposed to be bad now, which leads me to my negatives. Like, there are characters here that just make some of the worst decisions where I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? This is not the type of thing we set up from the first film, where some of that feels like it's just there to set up the next part of the story. And I don't consider this a spoiler because it's in the trailers and they have been making it a big deal, is that some parts are setting up the Wizard of Oz story, where Dorothy Gale eventually comes to the world of Oz and of course meets characters like the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, and the Cowardly Lion, lion, but she doesn't really do much in the film. She doesn't serve that much of a purpose, and you don't really see her. You mostly just get the back of her head or just like a side profile of her briefly, and she's mostly pushed to the side for the main characters, which is kind of odd that they would do that to that character. Where it also has some stories that I mentioned before where characters are making terrible decisions and they're supposed to tie into this story, making go, oh, so that's there just to set up the Wizard of Oz story. And it would also have characters that are important in the first film and are supposed to be more important in this film, where they're supposed to tie into that story, making you go, huh? Is that what they've been setting up as the whole time? There's also one part in the ending that happens that made me go, are we not gonna show that? Are we not gonna have that be a big part for this ending? I mean, it's kind of a big part. Are we not gonna show that? I mean, it's kind of something that is supposed to be a big part for the main story. We're not gonna do that? Are we not? Speaking of that ending, no spoilers, of course, the way it wraps everything up and showing where the characters end up, it really does raise a lot of questions. Where how they're ending this story doesn't feel earned. It doesn't feel like there's a lot to explain about what they're doing when they really should have done some explaining more. Because this ending has some characters making decisions that don't really make sense or feel earned. Where it's just gonna make you go, wait, this is how we're ending it? This is how we're gonna end the main story? Now granted, I've never read the book or seen the original Broadway show, so I don't really know if that's really how it ends in either of those. But when I'm reviewing the film, I try to separate the film from the book or Broadway musical it's based off of, because I'm not going to be one of those people that would look at the film and say, oh, that's what happened in the Broadway show, that's why they're doing it. And if those things in this film happened in the Broadway show, then I'm like, okay, that doesn't mean I like those. Wicked for Good is unfortunately not as good as the first film. It has a lot of issues with its story and its characters making decisions that don't make sense, but it still had some redeemable qualities like the acting, the songs, the production design, and the costumes, where this movie is still worth watching on the big screen just for those. But with this film, it feels like it's catering more to the fans of the Broadway musical, not to some new people that want to know the Wicked story. So if you love the first Wicked film and you love the Broadway show as well, then you're probably gonna love this film more than me. But if you've never seen the Broadway show and have only seen the first film and you're excited for this one, you're gonna be disappointed and confused. Where I don't think this movie is bad, it's still enjoyable, but compared to the first film, it's still disappointing. I'm gonna give Wicked for Good a B-. So guys, if you have seen Wicked for Good, what do you think about it? Do you think it's as good as the first film, or do you think that this is boring and you were disappointed by it? Let me know in the comments below. Also, please watch my review for the first film I did a few months back before getting to this one. And as always, if you like this video, then please leave a like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss a thing, because it helps my channel grow. Hit the notification bell so you know what other videos I'm posting. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.